yeah, so I can go into like some experience that I had, like in like I mean, this is a strange world. So you can see in those murals, those are people who have obvious esoteric understanding of these things. So you see that was, it's not a coincidence that they had the blue and the pink colors in the time space mural like that. It could be coincident, not really. A lot of esoteric knowledge comes from demonic, mind meld. The demons can inspire, and that's very real. That's not, that's a, people recognize this. This is all over the place. But when you're astral traveling, you're also gonna, oftentimes you're gonna attract attention. That's what they say. This is what's it's pretty recognized phenomena. But like here example, like I had astral travel many times, but like example, like here's an example of like astral travel. Like I had proof, and you can say, oh, there's no proof. Proof is not proof. But I had a friend. He was at Martha's Vineyard, and I had visited because I was going to go visit. I was going to go live there for the summer, and so it's kind of like a natural thing to astral travel. Check out what was going to go on. And I had a dream, and I told him about it. I said, yeah, and I didn't know that it was related. It's just something that, like, I'm already inclined to, like, meditate towards that. And I tell him this dream, and he's like, oh, that sounds exactly like there's this junkyard by my house. And because it was like a junkyard. It was surreal because all the cars were the same, and it was like every it was old, like 1920s model cars, and it was strange. I was like, wow. And actually I met this little character there. He was a little goat guy. What do you call that? A forlarin. And he was like about 3 feet tall. I think he had a top hat and a coat with tails, like like a jacket, buttons, 1920s era. And he said, this is where the kids drink moonshine. And he was it was interesting because they were all the same model cars, but there was actually, this one was a little bit different. The back was a little different. I described my friend incorrectly, though. I said it was like had like a canopy or something, because I was, you lose the details in your dream. You wake up, you like forget your dream. But it was actually like, instead of having a rounded back, it had like a cropped back, and the trunk of the car was open. And the trunk, it was the other ones I don't think had a trunk. They're just like round backed, and they might have a door on the back. But this one had like a little hump and had a trunk, and the trunk was open. He was standing in the open trunk, and at the place, I'm like, wow, this is it. It was like deja vu. Like, yeah, this is definitely the place I saw in my dream, because I went and eventually visited him. And but I was like, I'm looking for the exact place. I'm like, that one was different. It was a little different. Then I found one like that. I go, this was like almost like it, and it wasn't exactly that. And it had that modification to it. But there was another one that was modified like that also, and that was the place. That was the one. I'm like, this is it right here. This is where I saw him. So there was 2 of those modified models, and so that was a pretty tangible evidence of astral travel, or they get remote viewing. I think most of that remote viewing, you can see, is demonic. It's a demonic agenda. It's a demonic purpose, and it's very to be led astray. The thing of Moses and Yahweh's command is not to be led into the worshiping of demons. It very specifically says we don't want to be worshiping demons. Incidentally, this was a guy with goat legs. He probably had horns. I don't remember. I think he had a hat. Human top torso, and so this is the kind of thing that is, Moses was specifically saying, hey, we're not going to do that. We're not going to worship the goat people. Okay? And we're going to live in an honest, rational, secular society, a civil, lawful society, not a Catholic, lawless society in the serendipity of your heart, flying around in the astral realm, like Sodom and Egypt. Sodom and Egypt is might makes right. It's like that's Baal and Ishtar, okay? And Baal is like the goat god. And so this is something to think about. Another thing I had, I was on a New Year's. Here's one. Friends of mine had when they were kids, they were stealing gas from a DPW for the trucks for their motorcycles, and they went there at night, and then they heard like it's kind of like out in the woods, so it's like out in the middle of it's right off the main road though, but it's out in the middle of nowhere. There's like, I don't really know how these kids got around in that town anyway, because it's really no choice to go on this road if you're going to go anywhere. But they said they heard like voices of people, and they recognized one voice in particular. It was like, very specific, like they knew the guy, and it was a bunch of people they heard, and they shined. They had this big high-powered halogen flashlight, and they wanted to scare him, so they shined the halogen flashlight on it, and it something tore through the field up into a tree. And then he shined the light in the tree, and then something like ripped out of the tree, breaking a big branch, and screaming, flying out through the air like really fast. And they got scared because it was so loud. And they're like, well, there's no people here. It's just this crazy thing that flew away. So I astral traveled to that to try to figure out what it was. And I found this like little and the thing is, like, I have reoccurring dreams still. That was like years and years ago. I still kind of occasionally have a reoccurring dream of like that place, and it always creeps me out. Like, I don't want to go in there, but it's like there's a quarry, and the road is like up on a mountain, and the mountain goes to like quarry, and then there's like caves and tunnel mines and stuff, and I'm like, it's up in there. And it's just a recurring, and there's another recurring dream I have, like another place kind of creepy in the same way, because these entities exist in a meta, tangible, rock, the granite. It really is. Like, people have, they have the burial mounds of the giants and stuff. They say there's like magnetic things there. That's because there's granite stones there, and the granite stones hold it's kind of like a Akasha record. It's kind of like an Akasha record. So yeah, that's a thing.